I began my career way back in 1995 working in the advertising department of a local newspaper. It was then that I first became aware of the ad industry legend David Ogilvy. He famously said, on average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. When you've written your headline, you spent 80 cents of your dollar. Put another way, 5 times more people read the headline of an article than read the actual article itself. Writing a headline is a mix of science and art. It needs to grab the attention of its intended reader and give them enough of a reason to want to read more. The meteoric rise in clickbait is testimony to this. But while the media are using attention-grabbing headlines to seduce audiences, which in turn helps them sell more advertising space because the more traffic they generate, the higher the rates they can charge, they're also creating a big bloody problem. I'm talking specifically about the media's coverage of the UK economy. The economy is not in recession, yet you wouldn't think so given the headlines. Okay, growth is sluggish, but growth is still growth. Take a look at some of the media headlines of the last 4 weeks alone, and you'd think that the end of the world is very much nigh. 3 weeks ago, for example, City AM reported, UK to avoid recession, but economy on track for slow burning slump, followed by UK economy bounces back, but experts warn of stagnation. Then 2 weeks ago, they ran with recession kicked into the long grass as UK steams ahead of Europe and US. And this week, they flipped the other way again. UK recession still very much on the cards. They're not alone in this dichotic style of reporting. 3 weeks ago, The Guardian headlined, economic growth of sorts, but UK PLC is going nowhere. Then this week, they say, economy on track for return to growth as retail sales rise. Is it any wonder, therefore, that key purchasing and investment decisions are being held back when the media is telling everyone, yeah, there may be some growth, but don't get your hopes up because it's all going to go to shit any minute now, followed by, we're grand, everything is all tickety-boo, don't worry, what's all the fuss about? The media is also selecting, if you will, which stories it chooses to publish. Indeed, a report published in the middle of March found that, and I quote, British businesses reported a second month of growth in March, suggesting the overall economy expanded in early 2023, and they also turned more upbeat about their prospects in the year ahead. Only Reuters, The Telegraph, and a handful of very small investor-specific trader websites covered this, yet this is just the sort of reporting we need to be seeing and not being kept in the dark about. Now, I'm not naive. I know that the economy ain't in the best of shape, but it's not in a recession, it's not likely to enter a recession, and all this doom and gloom rhetoric is doing nobody any good whatsoever. The media has a duty to report the facts, and they have a responsibility to canvass opinion from industry leaders and other commentators. If you didn't read beyond the headline, the inevitable impression you'd be left with is that we're all in deep poo-poo with no end in sight. Yet if you did venture into those articles themselves, you'll invariably find a plethora of sound, balanced views that will enable you to make an informed judgment on where you believe we're at in terms of how well the economy is performing. But human nature doesn't always work like that. If all the headlines that you see are prophesying economic stagnation or retardation, that is what customers, investors, and others with their fingers in the purse strings will start to believe. And that in turn influences, whether positively or negatively, key decisions that those businesses will make in terms of investment in public relations spend, marketing, or technology, for example. Confidence comes from having the facts at hand and not being misled by media hell-bent on creating sensationalist headlines to grab your attention in a bid to boost their audience figures and advertising revenue by default. Some media have been positive in their commentary on the UK economy. Alas, they're not British. Bloomberg, for example, ran with, the UK economy keeps beating expectations. CNBC led with recent headlines saying, the UK economy rebounds stronger than expected. Reuters said, UK business survey points to Q1 growth and growing confidence. The media has the power to positively or negatively shape opinion. If it can influence political voting, it can influence business decision making. We can all agree that the economy isn't where we'd ideally like it to be, but it's not in recession and it is predicted to grow relatively strongly over the next 2 to 3 years. So can't the media focus more on that and play its part in boosting confidence levels that are essential to driving business growth?